Victoria of Baden was the Queen of Sweden by her marriage to King Gustaf V. She was politically active in a conservative fashion during the development of democracy and known as a pro-German during the First World War. Birth: Princess Victoria was born on 7 August 1862 at the castle in Karlstad, Baden. Her parents were Grand Duke Frederick I of Baden and Princess Louise of Prussia. Crown Princess. Princess Victoria married in Karlstad on 20 September 1881 Crown Prince Gustaf of Sweden and Norway, the son of King Oscar II of Sweden and Norway and Sophia of Nassau. From then on, she used the name Victoria. The German emperor and empress were present at the wedding, and marriage was arranged as a sign that Sweden belonged to the German sphere in Europe. The marriage was popular in Sweden, where she was called the Vasa Princess because of her descent from the old Vasa dynasty, and she received a very elaborate welcome on the official cortege into Stockholm 1 October 1881. The 1st of February 1882, Victoria and Gustaf visited Oslo, where they were welcomed with a procession of 3,000 torchbearers. She and Gustaf were brought together by the families, and their marriage was reported not to have been a happy one. The marriage produced 3 children. In 1890 to 1891, Victoria and Gustaf traveled to Egypt to repair the relationship, but it did not succeed, allegedly due to Victoria's interest in one of the courtiers, and she repeated the trip to Egypt in 1891 to 1892. After 1889, the personal relationship between Victoria and Gustaf is considered to have been finished, in part, as estimated by Lars Elgplau, due to the bisexuality of Gustaf. She suffered depression after the birth of her first child in 1882, and after this, she often spent the winters at spas abroad. She would continue to spend the winters outside Sweden from that year until her death. By 1888, her winter trips had made her unpopular, and she was described as very haughty. In 1889, she had pneumonia, and was formally ordered by the doctors to spend the cold Swedish winters in a southern climate. She had conflicts with her parents-in-law about her expensive stays abroad. She greatly disapproved of the marriage between her brother-in-law Prince Oscar and her lady-in-waiting Ebba Monkey F. Falkila in 1888. She is described as strong-willed and artistically talented. She was an accomplished amateur photographer and painter, and she also sculpted. On her travels in Egypt and Italy, she both photographed and painted extensively, and experimented with various photo-developing techniques, producing high-quality photographic work. She was also an excellent pianist and, for example, could play through the complete Ring of the Nibelung by Wagner without notes. She had had a good music education, and in her youth she had turned the notes on court concerts for Franz Liszt. Her favorite composers were Schubert and Beethoven. She was also described as a skillful rider. Queen Victoria became Queen Consort of Sweden with her father-in-law's death on 8 December 1907. As Queen, she was only present in Sweden during the summers, but she still dominated the court. She arranged the marriage between her son Wilhelm and Grand Duchess Maria Pavlova of Russia in 1908. She was also devoted to various kinds of charity, both in Sweden, Germany and Italy. Queen Victoria had substantial political influence over her husband, who was often considered pro-German. In 1908, Victoria made an official visit to Berlin with Gustaf, where she was made an honorary Prussian colonel. She was described as strict and militant, and it was said that she had the heart of a Prussian soldier. She was very strict with discipline, and if any of the members of the palace guard forgot to salute her, they were generally put under arrest. Swedish court life was also dominated by a certain stiffness, upheld by her favored lady-in-waiting, Ellen Tabber. She was deeply conservative in her views and resented the dissolution of the Swedish-Norwegian Union, the Great Strike of 1909, the 1911 election victory of the Radicals and the Socialists as well as the Liberals, and when her son was temporary regent in 1912, she warned him in letters from Italy that he should not be too intimate with the elected government. Queen Victoria lost a lot of popularity among the Swedes for her often noted pro-German attitude, particularly politically during World War I, when she is said to have influenced her husband to large extents. During World War I, she gave a personal gift to every Swedish volunteer to the German forces. She kept up a close contact with the German Emperor, whom she often visited during the war. She founded Drottningens Central Kommitté for defense equipment. She deeply resented the Social Democratic election victories in 1917 and worked to prevent them from taking part in the government. Victoria's political influence was founded upon the power position of her first cousin, German Emperor William II, and when he was deposed in 1919, she lost all political influence in Sweden. Queen Victoria suffered from very poor health, and often went on trips to make her health better. She was treated with mercury and undue heavy medications during her difficult pregnancies, possibly the cause of her chronic conditions. From 1892 to her death, Axel Munthe was her personal physician and recommended for health reasons that she spend winters on the Italian island of Capri. While initially hesitant, in the autumn of 1901 she traveled to Capri, arriving to an official welcome and a crowd which escorted her from the marina to the Hotel Paradise. From then on, except during World War I and for the last 2 years of her life, she spent several months a year on Capri. After some time, she decided to purchase her own residence on Capri, an intimate, rustic 2-story farmhouse she named Casa Caprile, which she had extensively landscaped, surrounding it with a dense park. In the 1950s, 20 years after her death, the property became a hotel. The Queen went to Munthe's residence, the Villa San Michele, most mornings in order to join Munthe for walks around the island. Munthe and the Queen also arranged evening concerts at San Michele, at which the Queen played the piano. They also shared a love of animals, with the Queen frequently being seen with a leash dog, and she was known to support Munthe's efforts to purchase Mount Barbarossa for use as a bird sanctuary. It was rumored that Munthe and the Queen were lovers, but this has never been confirmed. Queen Victoria spent a lot of her time abroad because of health reasons, as the Swedish climate was not considered good for her, and during her last years as Queen, she was seldom present in Sweden. She participated in an official visit to Norrland in 1921, a visit to Dalarna in 1924, and to Finland in 1925. The visit to Finland was her last official appearance as Queen, although she did visit Sweden at her husband's birthday, 1928. She did not show herself to the public during those celebrations. However, someone noticed the figure of a woman behind a curtain in the royal palace of Stockholm. He waved to her, and she waved back with her handkerchief. After this, she left Sweden for Italy for good. She died 2 years afterward. She was the 855th Dame of the Royal Order of Queen Maria Louisa. Death. Toward the end of her life, with her health declining, Munthe recommended she no longer spend time in Capri, and she returned to Sweden for some time, building a Capri-styled villa there. She then moved to Rome. Her final visit to Sweden was on her husband's 70th birthday in 1928, and Queen Victoria died on the 4th of April 1930 in her home Villa Svezia in Rome at age 67. Genealogy. At the death of her childless brother Grand Duke Frederick II of Baden in 1928, Victoria became the heir to her great-grandfather King Gustaf IV Adolf of Sweden, who had been deposed in 1809. The unrelated House of Bernadotte had been elected to the Swedish throne in 1810, and had reigned ever since. Victoria's son, King Gustaf VI Adolf of Sweden, could therefore claim to be the direct heir to Gustaf IV of the House of Holstein-Gottorp and the House of Vasa, as well as the Bernadotte kings of Sweden. Issue, titles, styles, and arms. Titles and styles: the 7th of August 1862 to 20 September 1881, Her Grand Ducal Highness Princess Victoria of Baden. The 20th of September 1881 to 7 June 1905, Her Royal Highness Princess Victoria, the Crown Princess of Sweden and Norway, Duchess of Värmland, Princess of Baden. The 7th of June 1905 to 8 December 1907, Her Royal Highness Princess Victoria, the Crown Princess of Sweden, Duchess of Värmland, Princess of Baden. The 8th of December 1907 to 4 April 1930, Her Majesty Queen Victoria, the Queen of Sweden, Princess of Baden. Arms: ancestry. Photographic work.